Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a splendid day. Since this stays up on the Facebook group, I feel weird if I say good evening because maybe you're watching this first thing in the morning. Yeah, so I don't like to get my times of day messed up. I got a really splendid surprise in the mail today. So there was this course that I was taking, and I just thought that my certificate that was coming was going to be for a certified herbalist. And then I opened up the envelope and realized that I am not a certified herbalist. I am a master herbalist. So pretty excited about that one. Really fun surprise to find out that you got something better than you thought you were going to get. Just want to make sure, as always, that I let you know that what we're talking about tonight is not meant to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. I'm not allowed to make that claim because what I promote is natural health. It's food and nutrition. So I'm not allowed to make any health claims, so I hope you don't derive any from that tonight. And also, for anyone watching, I wanted to let you know that we're going to do a giveaway through probably the weekend. If you watch this in the next couple of days, it's March 1st, it's Thursday, so I'll give you till Tuesday to comment anything, whatever you want on this video, and I'll be giving away samples of a drink mix called Stixated. I'll send you a couple of those. It's a really awesome, great tasting mix. You just pour it in your water bottle, shake it up, and it's got fiber, chromium, and Garcinia cambogia. There's been a lot of that in the news the past couple of years, so it's really great for balancing blood sugar levels, curbing cravings, suppressing appetite, and it tastes great, so I highly recommend it. All right, so we're going to dive into tonight's information. Hopefully you learned something tonight, and this is also leading into letting you know about a class, a program that I teach called In.form. So what we're talking about tonight is tackling one of the biggest health problems that there is globally, and that's cardiometabolic syndrome. And also introducing you to the program, which is the last diet plan that you'll ever need. So if you've been struggling with your weight, your health, then listen up. This is really for you. So cardiometabolic syndrome, it's a big word. As I was typing up my notes for tonight, every time I got to it, I had to go cardiometabolic. Like, it just doesn't roll off the typewriter that well either. So it actually affects billions of people worldwide, and more than 25% of adults worldwide have it. Have these problems that are associated with it, rather, if I look at my notes correctly. So some of the three problems that a quarter of our population have is type 2 diabetes. I bet just about all of us know someone that is affected by that. Heart disease, that is the #1 killer of women. And infertility problems, those are becoming more and more prevalent. And if you watched one of my last videos on enzymes, I did talk about how when our body is lacking in health, it's going to have a harder time reproducing. So 1 out of 3 adults is actually pre-diabetic. I'm not diagnosing anything here tonight. This is just the statistic that 1 out of 3 are pre-diabetic, but they don't know that they are because there are no symptoms. So, what's the standard treatment, when you have a health problem? You go to the doctor, I have this symptom, and he gives you a prescription. So do we really believe that prescriptions are making us healthier? Do you think that you have high blood pressure because you have a statin deficiency? Or that you have depression because of a Zoloft deficiency? I highly doubt it. So, does that make sense to you that we're not deficient in prescriptions? We're deficient in nutrients. I actually described the way that prescriptions worked earlier to someone like this. There is an emergency down the street, and you have somebody calling to let you know about this emergency, the phone ringing. So that would be the symptom, is the telephone is ringing, that there's an emergency out there. So the telephone's ringing, trying to let you know about this emergency. It's waking you up at night. It's disturbing you during the day. It's making it hard to concentrate constantly. This phone ringing. You're too busy to take the call, so you're like, okay, I need to fix this symptom, make it stop. I just want to make it stop. So you go to the doctor, and he gives you a prescription. That, in a sense, is like taking the phone off of the hook. It didn't change the fact that there's an emergency out there that someone's trying to alert you of. It just stopped the symptom, and that's that phone call that's coming through. So, symptoms are just a sign of dysfunction in our bodies, and they're caused by a nutritional deficiency or a system toxicity. That's it. It's really simple when you break it down. So, what do? We need to fulfill that deficiency that's going on there so our body can start making healthy cells that are working properly. And we remove the toxicity that's getting in the way of things being created in a proper way. And bam, the symptom's gone. The phone quits ringing. The body's restored to health. We go on with our day. We feel great. We sleep well. It's that easy. So that's what natural health is all about, is helping you get to the root of the problem. We remove the emergency, and we stop the phone call naturally. We have control. We have responsibility. It's all on us. So that's where we look at, we talked about toxins, we talked about our lifestyle. Some people might say, well, what about genes? What about if it's hereditary? Couple thoughts on that. One is we like to call things that we don't understand or that we have a difficult time treating, we like to call them hereditary because it makes it easier. It takes the responsibility off of us. Oh, it's just hereditary. But a lot of these are actually caused by our lifestyle. So we might say, well, my mom had it, my grandma had it. How many generations back does it go? Whatever it is that you're calling hereditary. One thing to think about is, the nutritional deficiencies. You might have inherited your mother's nutritional deficiencies. If while you're growing in her womb, you're actually taking a lot of nutrients from her. So let's say that she's already deficient in a nutrient, and a lot of that's because her diet is deficient in that nutrient. So then as you're growing and developing, your body's taking as much of that nutrient from her as it can get because it needs it for you to grow and be a healthy little baby that comes out. But she doesn't have enough of it, and so you were born with not very much, and so your body quickly runs out, and because of the way that she eats, she's going to feed you what she eats, and so you're going to inherit her bad food habits, and you inherited a deficiency from her. That doesn't make it hereditary. It wasn't necessarily a defect in your actual genes. So that's something to think about the next time you want to say that something is hereditary. It can be an inherited deficiency that just needs to be corrected, or it was a lifestyle and a nutritional way of eating and living that is causing the health problems. So not only can we inherit deficiencies, but also heavy metal toxicities, and then those bad nutritional habits. So that's where, think about if you have the same health problems as your parents, think about how much of your diet and your lifestyle. Did you grow up with active parents? Are you an active person now? Those are a lot of the reasons. When it comes to our health, it all comes down to cause and effect. Cause and effect. That's one of the courses I'm taking. The teacher says that all the time, and I think I'm going to start adopting that as my own phrase. So, cause and effect. It's not a mystery when the body malfunctions. And if you were working with a natural health practitioner, they can actually see that coming when you're not sticking to the food plan, you're not sticking to the supplement plan, you have all of these symptoms, the phone is off the hook, the alarms are going off, and you're not changing anything. That's where it's oh my gosh, I see it coming. If I could only tell this person how important it is for them to change. But I can't do the work for you. I can provide you with support and coaching and information, but I can't actually force your supplements down your throat or make you eat a healthy lifestyle. One other thought on hereditary is if all of these things are hereditary, that means that they would go back for generations, which would make Eve, the very first woman, the most unhealthy, so physically screwed up because of all of these hereditary diseases that she passed along. So she'd be the most unhealthy person that ever lived. There are two main characteristics of metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome is just a shortened way of saying cardiometabolic syndrome. So we can shorten that a little bit. And so two of the main causes of a lot of these health problems are insulin resistance and chronic inflammation. And we'll find out that those two actually, one can cause the other as well. So anyone watching ever dealt with inflammation? That normally, you feel that normally in the form of pain. Can be pain somewhere on the body. Any of those fancy words that the doctor throws out that ends in itis, arthritis, colitis, bursitis, cystitis, you can keep going. That itis, anything that ends in itis, stands for inflammation. The beginning of the word is just telling you where that inflammation is coming from. So we might have headaches, arthritis, Alzheimer's. Inflammation can also cause hair loss, depression, inflammatory bowel, fatigue. So we practice prevention through our diet and lifestyle. So the same way that nearly the same plan that a natural health practitioner would put you on to help you get healthy is the same way. That same diet and nutrition is the same thing that we can use to practice prevention. It is so much easier for me to help you stay healthy than it is for us to have to backpedal and correct things that are going on. So you might not actually be experiencing any symptoms, but just want to be somebody healthier and stay healthy. This information is really important for you as well. So insulin resistance. Insulin is supposed to take sugar from the bloodstream for our cells to use for energy. So sugar isn't always a bad thing if our body can use it correctly. The dysfunction that happens is when maybe the body can't create enough insulin and that sugar is being left in the bloodstream, and that leads to inflammation. So when somebody comes in and they start talking to me about all of this pain that they're in, and I start talking about sugar, and they might say, well, I don't eat a lot of sweets and I stay away from candy. Like, there's other forms of sugar, and it all sugar leads to inflammation, which leads to pain. So I tell them, just cut out that middle word and just remember that sugar equals pain. So getting to the root of this, how do we deal with this problem? So first off, we have to fix the microbiome. You may or may not have heard that word before. I try to incorporate it into most of my webinars because it is such an important thing for us to learn about. So it's also commonly called the gut when somebody's referring to the gut. Unless you have like a beer belly, they might call that a gut. But a gut from a natural health standpoint refers to the bacteria that live in us. And the microbiome is the bacteria that lives in us and on us. So they're really small. They outnumber our human cells 10 to 1. The average adult has 3 to 4 pounds of bacteria in their actual intestines. So they're really small. And we want 80% of this bacteria to be friendly. So we want the majority of it to be really good, beneficial bacteria that's working with us. It's very beneficial to us. Our microbiome has been called our second brain. So we want 80% of it to be good, and that helps keeps the weed and the weeds, the bad bacteria, in check. So the problem is that for the majority of us, we have the reverse. We want 80% good and only 20% bad, and most of us are opposite, and that's when problems start happening. So the gut, our microbiome, that imbalance is where the root of our problems lie. And it affects our whole body. So like our liver, our brain health, anyone have anxiety, depression, autism, that can all stem from microbiome imbalances. It affects our neurological system, our respiratory system. If you have breathing problems, you probably have an imbalance in your microbiome. Glandular, people with hormonal problems, women with awful PMS, or even menopause. We think that that's normal, those hot flashes. It's fun to make fun of somebody that's sitting across the room from you, fanning themselves and their face is turning beet red. That's actually a sign that something is wrong with their hormones. That can be corrected naturally. We might have weight problems, skin issues, whether it's acne, psoriasis, eczema. People come in, they just want a cream, or a face wash that's going to be a miracle cure, and we can't just treat the outside. That would be like, getting your windows washed and you never wash the inside of your windows, and you keep wondering, why can't I see out my windows? Well, there's dirt on the inside too. We might have a weakened immune system if you're always getting colds or the flu. Anyone get the flu this past season? I did not, and I don't remember the last time I got the flu, and I only got the flu shot once when I was like 18 or 19, and it was because my mom made me, and never gotten it again. So, and I refuse to catch the flu. I also don't believe you catch flus, so we'll get into that, talking about immune system later. Blood sugar levels. You'll have problems managing your blood sugar levels. Your cardiovascular system is going to suffer. And you might have troubles with your mood. You might not be in a good mood very often. Did you know that up to 90% of your neurotransmitters are produced in the gut? So those messengers that are talking back and forth to your brain, most of them are produced in your gut. So if you've got bad bacteria in there, you're not going to be producing the correct neurotransmitters. For instance, serotonin and dopamine. Those are two of our really good feel-good neurotransmitters. So that's often when we're depressed, we're low in one of those possibly. If we don't have a healthy gut, we're not making enough serotonin, and we might not be sleeping well then, because serotonin is what the body converts to melatonin for our normal sleeping rhythms. So think about that next time you're lying awake. Why can't I go to sleep? Or you're always having to take melatonin. Melatonin is something that your body should be producing naturally. So right there is a phone call from your body. Something's wrong. So when I talk about the microbiome, I like to use the analogy of a lawn where we have the lush green grass is our good bacteria, and then the weeds are our bad bacteria. We know we just can't mow over a dandelion and expect it to go away. We got to get it out by the roots. It's the same thing with all weeds. They're very persistent. They like to hang on. So that's where, you get out your weed control. You got to water the grass. You put food down that's just for the grass, that's not as good for the weeds. You're doing something, whether you're pulling weeds or you put down something to kill the weeds. Probably have to add grass seed. If you don't have enough grass, if your lawn was made up of mostly weeds, you've got to put down some grass seed. And then you've got to feed that grass. So what are you feeding your microbiome? Do you even know what foods are good for it? So the good news is this cardiometabolic syndrome can be reversed. Type 2 diabetes can be reversed. Heart disease, we can stop it. We can feed the heart, give it what it needs. We can get rid of the inflammation. We can remove the weeds. We can feed the grass, and we can have a happy, healthy body. And that means mind, body, and spirit. We want all parts of us to be healthy. So when we're healthy, what does that look like? We're able to manage our weight. For most of us, that probably means we want to lose weight. For a few, that would be gaining weight. That's where people, I wanted to say girls just because I felt like girls are always the most self-conscious about our weight, but that might just be because guys don't let it show that much. But for people that are underweight, they're as self-conscious about themselves as those that are overweight. We'll also have healthy triglyceride levels. We'll have healthy insulin levels. Our body will be able to create it properly. We're not going to be putting in too much sugar, and the sugar that we do, our body will be able to handle, and it won't just sit in our bloodstream and become inflammation. We'll have healthy cholesterol levels. Now, cholesterol is wildly misunderstood. We'll touch on that in another class. But this is just, we'll touch on cholesterol later. But now my brain can't move on. So what I'm proposing is actually comparable to medications, and it doesn't have the nasty side effects. So if your body has been calling you on the phone lately, and you're like, oh, I can't sleep, or this hurts, or, whatever, I'm anxious all day long, or I'm on edge, I get angry, all of that. It's your body calling you on the phone. I urge you to listen to it and figure out what it's missing and what it needs. So, wanted to introduce to this group my In.form program. So I became a certified In.form coach, and in addition to several other certifications that I have. In.form is a 13-week class, and it teaches you how to be healthy physically, emotionally, socially. Lots of good health information every single week. It includes a diet plan. So we'll be talking about how much vegetables do I need to eat each day? How much protein should I be eating? When should I be eating this protein? How much healthy fats do I need? What does a good balanced diet look like? It's going to come with an exercise plan. We're going to have our own Facebook group for it. So it's my In.form for Life group. So it'll be exclusive because we're going to have some exclusive teachings in there. Have an exercise plan. I will be going live in there at least once a week. I'm considering more depending upon the group and what the group needs. We'll take that on a week-by-week basis. So accountability, not just from me, but from the group as well. There'll be a workbook that we're going through. We're all going to have a food tracking book that's really helpful for a lot of people. It's really nice because you can just, yep, I ate that. Then lets you see what you're missing for the day. And you'll have access for this group for life for as long as you maintain a Nature Sunshine membership, which just is purchasing $40 from Nature Sunshine in each year, really. So there's hardly any cost to maintain and stay in the group. So what have some of my previous In.form participants noticed? That they have more energy. They sleep better. One of them said that they felt like they now lived instead of just existed. They know what healthy feels like. And some of these people notice this difference. They're on their way to this journey in just the first week. I hear people telling me, oh my gosh, I have so much less pain, or I'm sleeping better. Like, this is incredible. The diet plan for this. So this is not just a one and done, like, all right, 13 weeks, it's 90 days. Let's do this diet plan. Let's shed some weight, and then we're going to move on with our life. No, this is a way of teaching you how to eat responsibly and for your body for the rest of your life. So it is sustainable long term. And that's where the problem with most diets is. You go on it and you're not taught anything new. So if you go to I said notification problem on my phone, totally lost my train of thought. So you take this crash diet. You know, a lot of us are like this new latest fad thing, and you start eating that way, and you eat it for so long, and let's say you reach your goal weight. Hooray! I reached my goal weight. I got it off. I'm all set. I'm going off my diet. I'm not dieting anymore. And all of a sudden, the weight creeps back on slowly. And then all of a sudden, you reached where you started when you started that diet, and then we got a little more weight that creeps on. And then we end up in worse shape than we did at the beginning of the diet. Why? Because the diet plan itself didn't teach you anything. You knew that it was a short-term solution, but you thought it was a permanent fix. And that's where it's not. You have to learn how to change your eating habits so that you can keep the weight off permanently. And you have to change the environment inside of your body to be one that is hospitable to health. So that's where the eating plan is one that I try to maintain. I eat this way 80% of the time. I need to do a little bit better, actually. But that's just where you're being taught how to take care of your body. Creating a different habits. So it's very focused on plants. Plants are where our vitamins and minerals come from. The building blocks of our cells and our bodies, our basic nutrients, our antioxidants. So we need more plants, more raw foods in our diet. It teaches us about quality proteins, how much and when. Healthy fats, how good they are for us, our heart, and fighting inflammation. All of these things are things that our microbiome also needs in order to flourish. So they're like getting your fertilizer for your microbiome, for that lush green lawn that we talked about. So many people do find that they have more rapid weight loss on this diet than others, especially fat loss. And if we're losing weight, I think we could all agree that we would rather lose fat than any other part of our body. It's not as if we're like, oh, I'm going to on a diet, I'm going to see how much muscle I can lose. It's going to be great. Said no one ever. So this also plan helps jumpstart your recovery. So you're like, wait, I don't need to lose weight. I don't need to gain weight. Is this plan still for me? Absolutely, because this is teaching you what you should be putting in your body for optimal health. And this is also what you would need to do if you have optimal health and you want to keep it. This plan is for you. And if you don't have optimal health but you want to get it back, this plan is for you. I want to encourage you and let you know your body is a self-healing unit. Your body heals itself. I can't emphasize that enough. If your body didn't heal itself, then you would have every scratch, every bump, every bruise, every broken bone that you ever had. We'd look a mess. So just so you know, I'm not saying that herbs heal anything. Prescriptions don't heal anything. The body is healing itself, but we have to provide it with quality building materials. If you were going to go build a home to live in, you wouldn't buy warped boards and old rusty bent nails and sheetrock that had been left out in the rain and plywood for the walls that was all like bubbly and expanding. No, we would buy quality materials. When whatever he's building, when I go with my husband to Home Depot and we get wood 2x4s, he's always checking them to make sure they're straight. Why? Because he wants what he's building to look right, to look straight. It's the same thing for our bodies. We're constantly replacing cells, and we need to be giving it the building materials that it needs to create properly functioning cells. So if our nutrition, if we're only intaking 50% of the nutrients that our body needs to build a cell, how well do you think that cell is going to function at only 50%? And then if it's, needs to communicate with this cell over here, or we've got a little gland that we've built with these cells that needs to send some hormones over here, how well are those hormones going to be made, and how well are they going to transmit information? What about cleaning out toxins? It's another thing. So not only do we need the proper nutrients in, we need to get the toxins out. So, could you imagine as you're building this house, you never cleaned anything, you never swept the floors, and your house is now built and it's got all this sawdust in there and wood ends from when they were cutting it, and then you never cleaned anything. You never picked up anything. If something got dirty, it was left where it was. If you've got pets, then all of the pet hair is lying around. And we never empty our septic system, so that starts backing up. That is what happens to our body when we don't detox from all of the junk that we're putting in it. So this program, so you know, was clinically tested, comes to you from my favorite supplement company that I brag on all the time, called Nature's Sunshine. They have been in business since 1972, so over 45 years in natural health. And they are always researching. They are one of the leading edge companies of research and natural health material. They were listed as one of Forbes magazine's most trusted companies, which I think is a high honor for any supplement company because there's a lot of terrible ones out there. So this company standing head and shoulders above the rest. They perform over 600 quality tests on all of their products, which makes their products much better than organic. So most of us look for the organic label. That just has to do with the way that the materials, the herbs, you know, the food, whatever, was grown. An organic label is actually not good enough for Nature's Sunshine. They are testing, most companies test in parts per million. They test for contaminants in parts per billion. They can actually test for 1 drop of pesticide in the amount of product that would fill 20 Olympic swimming pools. So that's where you're like, well, are they organic? No, they're better than organic. There's very pure, potent herbs and supplements. So this In.form plan, they did a study on it. It was independently reviewed through the Hughes Research Center. And the results compared to diet and exercise alone showed that there was 56% more weight loss and 65% more fat loss. It also outperformed competitors' weight loss plans. Depending on which competitor, there was increased weight loss between 44 and 123%, and increased fat loss between 15 and 223%. There was greater improvements in triglycerides, total cholesterol, and LDL cholesterol. So why is this? It's because they target the cause. They're not targeting the problem, the symptom. They're getting to the root of it. So that's where we might be like focused on our weight and we're like, oh, I just want to lose this weight. The weight is a symptom. It's not actually the cause of what's going wrong. So we're helping you to address the weight gain, sugar cravings, and what's causing the body to break down, which is this imbalanced microbiome. I am going to post a video in the comments about the clinical study that they did so that you can see a little bit more about that. So the whole plan of the class itself, the coaching, the accountability, the Facebook group, all of the learning, that is for the 13 weeks is $149, but that also locks you in for life in the In.form group as long as you're maintaining a Nature's Sunshine account, which again just requires a $40 purchase yearly. Hopefully you're taking more supplements than that and that you're ready to switch to a really high quality brand like Nature's Sunshine. So then you can stay in the group for as long as you'd like. Continue learning. I try not to make each time that I go through the In.form information the same. So I am used to having a lot of repeat clients with it. It's really good to have that camaraderie, the group support. And then I do recommend, of course, these are additional, but that there's certain supplements that everyone should be on. There are some packaged kits that go with the In.form program, but I do like to work with clients a little bit more individually. So if you are joining the In.form group, that's something we'd send a few messages back and forth about what's going on with you, and I would recommend some of the top important ones for them. Yeah, so my next In.form class is going to be starting the first day of spring. So we can do our spring body cleaning. That's March 20th. And I look forward to seeing you all there. It's really a great program. I've been teaching it for over 2 years now. This is going to be my first time taking it as a Facebook group, but I think it's going to be really successful, and I'd love to see you all there. So drop a comment. Remember to be entered in the giveaway. If you have questions, please post them, and I will answer them as soon as I'm able to. And look forward to